Hello everyone, good morning. Today is 25th of July and welcome to the Hindu newspaper analysis. So friends, in the today's video, we are going to discuss the entire analysis of the Hindu newspaper and we will also be taking up the background as well as the way forward in the issues. Now guys, before starting up, first of all, I would like to tell you that the explainer PDF that I'm going to use here in this particular video, you can download this particular PDF from our Telegram channel. The link for the Telegram channel has been given in the description box. Now, first of all, let's start with the overview of the entire newspaper so that we can understand that which articles are actually important for our examinations and which articles are to be ignored. Now, here we have the page number 1 of the Hindu newspaper. I am taking the Delhi edition. Now, page number 1, high alert as Delhi reports monkeypox. So, guys, basically, India has reported the 4th confirmed case of monkeypox and Delhi has reported 1 case. So, therefore, this high alert is there. Fine. Then guys, basically see, you don't need to track find that how many cases are coming, okay, and all these particular trajectories, because not at all important for our examinations. Fine. Then guys, moving on, COVID highlights the climate crisis. So basically the president, okay, the former president of India has provided this particular thing that right now we are facing a particular existential crisis into the form of the climate change that is happening, and on that particular thing we need to be responsible. Then further moving on, AP on alert as water rises in the Godavari. Fine, nothing is important with respect to the examination. AAP accuses center of hijacking the government event. Fine, the political issues are going on. Then wind power rates may bottom out. So guys, with respect to the renewable energies, this particular article is important. We'll see this particular article. Then moving to the city section, Majnu ka Tila to be developed as food hubs. AAP accuses PMO of politicizing its event. Fine, by guys, all these particular thing is the political issues that are going on. After that, the advertisements etc. are there, not important. Then moving on, in this particular direction, we will be after that continuing in this particular same direction, we will be reaching to the editorial page. So guys, before the editorial page, much of the relevant articles are not there. Fine, you don't need to give too much of focus on that particular thing. Moreover, regional sections are different in every of the edition also. Now coming to the editorial page. So on the editorial page, the first article, weighing in on India's investment-led revival. We'll see this article, good article with respect to our examination. Then MC12, its gains for the developed world. We'll see this particular article also. Then out of bounds. Okay, so guys, this particular article, it talks about the basically recent bail of the Azam Khan, okay, by the Allahabad High Court. Okay, so basically all these conditions, all the issues that have been there are being discussed. Fine. Moreover, there is one more article also to the bail reforms. We'll also see that one also. Then a fine balance. Fine, 68th national award have been chosen good films. Okay, so basically the national film awards and the movies which have backed the awards are being discussed. Fine. However, with respect to UPSC, article is not much relevant. Adding digital layers of indignity. We'll see this article with respect to the digital governance, good governance, a shot in the arm of rule of law. We'll see this article also. Then moving on, politics over Polavaram. Okay, the state of the play article, not important for the exam. Then we come to the text and the context page, and under the text and context, a recap of the monkeypox outbreak has been discussed. Then Indian sports bodies under the scandal and the scrutiny. We'll see this article. Then guys, the challenges of fiberization ahead of India's 5G deployments. Now see, understand this particular thing. This is a cache article. Now see, on this text and context, we have many cache articles, keyword articles. Okay, many such articles are there. Now this cache article talks about some basically technical concept, okay, computer related issues it talks about. Now see, first of all, what is the meaning of this fiberization? So basically the towers, okay, that we have now, obviously we are going to implement the 5G in India. Okay, so basically the towers that are there, they are to be connected with each other also by using the optic fiber cables. Okay, so the fiberization is connecting the towers with by using the optic fiber cables. Fine, so that they can transmit the data, so that they can transmit the heavy data at much higher speeds. Now guys, this article is talking about some of the companies. Okay, this article is talking about some of the companies that will be used into the fiberization. Okay, and all these particular kind of things are being discussed. Then moving on, Smriti sends notice to Congress leader. So this is article which is filled with the political issues etc, not important for the examination. Fine. Now here we can see that ensure complete coverage of the schemes. We'll see the article what it is talking about. Fine. Then moving on in this particular direction, 5G spectrum auction from tomorrow. Okay, so basically fine, basically how much will be the costing and which particular bands of spectrums are being will be allocated, will be sold, all these things is being discussed. Fine, not important for your UPSC examination, guys, so no need to go in this particular thing. Fine. New generation should follow the path of the non-violence, Venkaya. So vice president has talked this particular thing, that non-violence, ahimsa, has been an integral value, we should follow that. Then the study on the snow leopard and its prey, will see the article. Fine, what it is talking about. Ukraine set to resume the grain exports. So guys, the last video that we have taken on Saturday, we have also discussed that now the basically Turkey as well as the Iran, they are now facilitating an agreement. Particularly the Turkey has played an important role. Russia and Ukraine has come to an important agreement where they will now resume the export of the grains through the Black Sea. Okay. Then Sri Lanka's presidential secretariat to reopen. Fine. Israeli forces killed 2 Palestinians. Nothing is important in this particular direction. Fine. After that, moving on, the China launches a second space station module. Okay, so basically, guys, as we see that basically the China, it is aiming to confront the US, confront the West, and in this confrontation the space race is going on. So China is launching the space station modules so that it can have its own space station. Then we today have the money wise page. Business page doesn't comes on to the Monday, and the money wise page contains the issues related to the stock market and all these kind of things. Fine. For our exam, this page is not actually important. Then we have the sports page. So guys, this is the overview of the entire newspaper, and now let's discuss the relevant articles for our examination one by one in the detail. Now, starting up, so first, guys, we have the GS folder. So in this particular section, we take the GS quotations. Today I am going to take up an essay topic. Find the essay topic which was asked in 2016. Okay, so guys, basically the essay that was asked into the UPSC mains examination, the topic was need brings greed. If greed increases, it spoils breed. Okay, so basically, guys, what happens, there is the need. Now there could be the two types of need. One could be the basic needs. What could be the basic needs? And the second kind of needs could be the complex needs. Second kind of needs could be the complex needs. Now when we talk about the basic needs are your food, shelter, clothing, etc. Then the complex needs are the needs such as to have self-esteem, to have dignity, okay, to have a sense of achievement into the society. These are the complex needs. However, sometimes basically these complex needs become overplaced, and these needs turn into wants. And guys, when we talk about these wants are never ending, and these wants then makes a person greedy. It makes basically a person is overdriven by he wants to fulfill all the wants that are there. Doesn't matter that whether they are logical or rational, yes or no. And in this particular thing, what happens, there is the greed which comes into the way. Okay, and this particular greed then becomes the factor which drives a human, and greed by very nature can never be satisfied. Greed is a bottomless pit. Bottomless pit means that whatever you put in that, basically it will never be getting fulfilled. So basically what happens, need eventually turns into the want. Okay, these wants, they drive the greed, and when the greed increases, it spoils the breed, it spoils the entire generations. Why? Because when the people are driven by greed, they don't have any sense of ethicality, they don't have any sense of morality, they loses their they forget to hear about their voice of conscience, and in order to fulfill their greed, they involve in corruption, they involve in abuse of authority, abuse of power, and all these kind of things. So greed is something which can spoil the generations, which can spoil the breed. So therefore greed is to be tamed. We need to have a realistic view over our needs. Okay, and sometimes we even forget that what is a need and what is a want. Fine. So guys, this is a kind of a thought that should have been transpired when you were, if you have to attempt this particular essay. Now let's take the first article. Okay, so guys, taking up the first article. So this article we have taken from the page number 1. It talks about that wind power rates may bottom out. Wind power rates may bottom out. Now this particular article we are going to see with respect to our GS paper number 3. GS paper number 3, environment, ecology, and within the environment, renewable energies. We are going to see this particular thing. Fine. Moreover, into the power sector reforms, again in GS paper number 3, power sector reforms, will see this particular articles. Power sector reforms. Fine. Now, before going in this particular article, guys, I would like to discuss some of the background information so that you can make much more sense of this particular article. So understand this particular thing, guys, that India is focusing too much onto the renewable energies. Why we are considering too much on renewable energies? Two issues are there. Number one, as India is moving towards the development, India's energy requirements are going to get increased. Now, if India for its energy requirement will be dependent on coal, it will be dependent on oil, gas, etc., that is not in line with the environmental conservation. It will not help India to fulfill its climate change goals. Now, India had taken the climate change goals in 2015. In the Paris, we have taken the INDC's intended nationally determined contribution, where India had said that we are going to contribute in the reduction of the emissions. Fine, India had said this particular thing also, that we will increase our share of renewable energies by 2030. So guys, as of INDC, we are going to increase the share of renewable energies to 45%. Secondly, we have also taken the carbon neutrality target also to be achieved by 2070. So therefore, we need to focus on renewable energies. Moreover, guys, when we talk about India's energy, if we are dependent on coal, if we are dependent on imported natural gas, okay, all these kind of things, obviously India's reliance on other countries increases, which India doesn't want. So what could be the solution? Solution is to develop the renewable energies. Now, when we talk about renewable energies, into the renewable energies, the number one focus of India is on the solar, and after the solar comes the wind energy. Now guys, when we talk about the wind energy, particularly on this particular landscape, India has committed that we will install the 60,000 megawatt of wind power projects by 2022. 60,000 megawatt of wind power is to be deployed. Now guys, in this particular direction, government is sanctioning many of the plants, government is approving many of the plants. But there is one particular problem that has come out to this particular thing. Let's say that there is one particular private player, or let's say there is a corporate, they want to install a wind power. Okay, now guys, in order to install that particular thing, they have to bid, they have to go for the reverse bidding. Now what is this reverse bidding? In reverse bidding, let's say there are the 10 prospective players who are there. All of them will say that okay, we will provide you electricity at a particular price, for example 5 rupees per unit. Okay, now basically the one who will be getting this particular tender is the one who gives the lowest bid. So let's say you say 5 rupees, I say 4 rupees unit electricity I will get the tender. Somebody else says that okay, I'll give the electricity at 3 rupees per unit, he will then get the tender. So lowest bid will be awarded. This is called as the reverse bidding. Fine. Now guys, what had happened, many of the private players, when they have come, or many of the energy projects that have been deployed, just in order to win the tender, they have basically rocked bottom the prices. So today we see when the renewable energies, solar power cost or the wind power cost that have been there, they have been artificially too much low. For example, 2.4 rupees per unit. Now at 2 rupees 40 paisa per unit, you cannot actually generate the electricity. So therefore, the wind power plants, the solar power plants, they are in too much of the losses. And if this particular thing will continue, what will happen? The new players will not come in this particular segment because of these huge losses, and therefore at the end of the day, entire renewable energy generation will suffer. So basically, practically too much low prices are there. Why? Because of this reverse bidding, where just to get a tender, basically unsustainable prices are quoted and then they regret. So therefore, what has happened now, the Ministry of New and Renewable Energy had said this particular thing, that we are now doing away with this practice of the reverse auctions. Are you getting it or not? So this reverse auctions will now be scrapped, and on some another basis, the tenders, the projects will be allocated to the parties. Now understand this particular thing, that though this particular thing is a welcome step, but it has been said that into the wind power generation, into the renewable generation, there are other issues also that are there which are bringing the inefficiency. So what are other factors which also should be handled by the government? Number one, the cost of the land. Now you know this particular thing, that if a wind plant wind power or windmill is to be installed, obviously a lot of land is needed. If solar power plant is installed, a lot of land is needed. So the cost of land which is needed to install these wind turbines, it is a big factor which increases the cost. Second issue guys that is there is that there is a limited availability of the prime sites. Now see, every site is not suitable for installing a wind power plant or for installing a solar power plant. Some sites are more favorable. Fine, they can actually generate more electricity due into the geographical factors, climatic factors. So these prime sites are not available. Fine. Moreover guys, there is one third reason also that there is a too much of the problem: poor financial health of the state electricity distribution companies. So distribution companies are those companies which actually procure the energy, procure the electricity from these producers and provide it to the ultimate consumer. Okay, so now these distribution companies, their financial health is very bad, so they are not able to clear the dues of the money that they owe to the electricity generators. So when the wind power generators are providing the electricity to these distribution companies, they are not getting their dues on the time, and it is impacting them. Then the third issue that comes here is that guys, basically the regions that have suitable sites for developing the wind farms, these, now the site is very much good, government is even willing to give it, but these sites are unconnected with the electricity grid. Okay, so just you don't need to generate the electricity, you need to feed that particular electricity into the electricity grid also, from where it is transmitted to the distribution companies, to the houses, to the industries. So they are not connected with the electricity grid, and now to connect electricity grid, they need to deploy a kind of an entire infrastructure, which will again increase the cost. So these are all the factors that are also needed to be taken in consideration if we need to focus onto the wind energy. So this is something which has been there, a very good article, and guys, in a comprehensive way we have covered it. So I hope that it is clear to you, and now we'll move to the next article. Study on snow leopard and its prey. Okay, so guys, here you see, first of all, there is a snow leopard. Now when we talk about the snow leopard has been categorized as the vulnerable. It has been categorized as vulnerable by the IUCN. Fine, IUCN red list. So IUCN red list has classified it as vulnerable. Now when we talk about the Wildlife Protection Act, in the Wildlife Protection Act of India, it is put into the Schedule 1. Schedule 1 means that it enjoys the highest level of protection. Okay, the snow leopard cannot be hunted, the snow leopard cannot be poached, etc. So there's a lot of protection that has been given. Now when we talk about the snow leopard, first of all, in India, it is found in a particular geographical range. Fine, in the Western Himalayas as well as Eastern Himalayas, the snow leopard is found. So in the Western Himalayas, snow leopard is found in Jammu and Kashmir, Himachal Pradesh, and in Eastern Himalayas it is found in Uttarakhand, Sikkim and Arunachal Pradesh. Now guys, what has happened recently, the study has been conducted onto the snow leopard, its habitat as well as the prey basis on which the snow leopard depends. So basically the National Mission on Himalayan Studies had carried a study onto the snow leopard, and it has found that there is a strong link between the habitat used by snow leopard and its prey species. Now guys, keep this particular thing in your mind, very important, could be asked into the UPSC. What are the species on which this snow leopard depends? It is the Siberian ibex. Siberian ibex is one, and the second one is the blue sheep. Siberian ibex and the blue sheep. So basically the National Mission on Himalayan Studies, it has found this particular thing, that wherever these Siberian ibex and the blue sheep will be present, there the presence of snow leopard will be more. Okay, obviously why? Because the snow leopard feeds on them, so therefore presence of snow leopard will be there. Now scientists have used the camera traps, they have used the sign surveys, okay, as well, and this particular entire experiment has been carried into the Spiti Valley of the Himachal Pradesh. So basically detection probability of the snow leopard is high if the site is being used regularly by the Siberian ibex as well as by the blue sheep. But at the same time guys, if first these Siberian ibex and blue sheep see that their snow leopard is present in a particular area, then they don't come in that particular area. So this is a relation that has been found. Now guys, when we talk about this snow leopard, for the snow leopard, government is running some conservation programs also. So This is something beyond the scope of this particular article, but we'll discuss it. So for the conservation of the snow leopard, India has been the party to Global Snow Leopard and Ecosystem Protection Program. So this particular program India joined in 2013. So Global Snow Leopard and Ecosystem Protection Program, where India is coordinating the countries which have the range for the snow leopards, and they will be sharing the knowledge as how the conservation can be enhanced. Moreover, one community participation program we have also started, that is the Himal Sangrakshak. Now what is the Himal Sangrakshak? Himal Sangrakshak is a community volunteer program to protect the snow leopard. Fine. So this is something that has happened in this particular direction, and this is, guys, going to be important for our prelims examination, environment and ecology. Prelims examination, environment and ecology. Fine. Now moving to the next one. Okay, so this particular article we have taken from the text and the context section. Indian sports bodies under the scandal and scrutiny. Okay, now see this particular article. Who is Narendra Batra, the veteran sports administrator, who is in the news and all these kind of things. See, this particular article had two dimensions. One is the political dimensions. There is a political controversy that is going on into the election of the sports bodies. We don't need to go in that particular dimension because not important for our examination. And then second is, as through an academic point of view, we need to just know that what is going on in this particular thing. Fine. So we will be seeing this entire article just only in academic way. Now guys, where this particular article is going to be important? This article is going to be important in GS paper number 2 as well as GS paper number 3, Youth Affairs. Youth Affairs. Okay. Now let's discuss this particular article. So guys, now we are celebrating the 75th year of India's independence, and we are entering into the Amrit Kal. So the next 25 years, they are going to be the Amrit Kal, okay, where we will be aspiring on many of the fronts. Okay, we will aspire on economical front, that how we can make India as a $5 trillion economy. We will be aspiring onto the political front, that how India could aim to be a superpower into the world affairs. Then we will be aspiring onto the social front, that how the social justice can be given to all the segments. Moreover guys, these next 25 years are also important for our demographic dividend, So understand this particular thing, that India has one of the biggest share of the young people. Today when we talk about the average age of India, it is 28 years average age of India. So we have exceptionally young people. Now guys, when we have young people, we can use them in economic activities, but at the same time we need to keep them strong, we need to keep them healthy, we need to keep them fit. Moreover, owing to young population in India, we have a very distinct advantage into the sports, into the Olympics, into the international championships. Are you getting it or not? Now you know this particular thing, guys, that India's performance into the Olympics, though we are trying to improve it, but it is not on par what could have been given the size of the young population in India. So therefore guys, the sports bodies, the role of the sports bodies, the role of the sports infrastructure, the role of the sports ecosystem is very much important. Now understand in this particular context that what is going on. Recently, the major sports bodies in India, they are into the news. For example, the All India Football Federation, Indian Olympic Association, then Hockey India Association, all of them are into the news. Why? Because their international counterparts are saying this particular thing, that they will not be allowed to participate into the international sporting events if they don't conduct their elections. So guys, for example, Indian Olympic Association, fine. So there is a governing body into the Indian Olympic Association. This governing body will be taking the decisions with respect to selection of the players, where the India is going to participate. So these governing bodies, the members are to be chosen by the basis of elections, but the elections have not been happening. Therefore, issue is going on. Moreover, guys, when we talk about the All India Football Federation Association, All India Football Federation, the Supreme Court has basically removed the governing body and has instituted COA, that is the Committee of Administrators. Now, this Committee of Administrator is running the football. Okay. Now, guys, the AIFF has been dissolved. Why? Because it violated the central government's sports code. What is the sports code? So, guys, the sports code was adopted in 2011. See this particular thing, guys. Basically, when we talk about the sports, there is a lot of favoritism, lot of nepotism, lot of corruption often that goes. How? Because, guys, when the selection of the players is to be done, then number one, the selection should only be based on one thing, that is the merit of the player. But rather than the merit of the player, favoritism is used here. Are you getting it or not? Many a times the administrators who are into the governing bodies, they give a preference to some of the vested interest. So therefore in 2011 government came out with this sports code, or called as the National Sports Development Code, where government provided that good governance practices into the management of sports at the national level will be brought. There should not be any interfering into the autonomy of the national sports bodies. It was provided that many of the sports bodies are being headed by the politicians. Okay, they are staying into the power and they are giving the chances only to their favorite people. This should not happen. There needs to be the democratic governance into the sports bodies. So therefore the sports code came. So basically the AIFF, it was said that it has violated this sports code. So therefore the governing body, governing council was removed and this committee of administrators were instituted. So guys, in AIFF elections are pending, in Indian Olympic Association elections are pending, in Hockey India the elections are pending. So all of them have been sent a notice that they should need to conduct the election as soon as possible. Fine. So this is something that Indian sports bodies have come under the scandal and scrutiny. Now guys, you don't need to go into this particular thing that for example, who is Mr. Narendra Batra, what is the charges levied against them, then others are also there and all these kind of things. Fine. So that political aspect is not important. Now I hope that you have understood, and actually this particular background is something which is very much important. So that is all about it, and now we'll move to the next article. Weighing in on India's investment-led revival. Investment-led revival. So guys, this particular article we are going to use with respect to the GS paper number 3. Okay, issues related to the Indian economy. Issues related to the Indian economy. Now, first of all, before going in this particular article, what do you understand by this particular term, that is the investment-led revival? Investment-led revival. Now, understand this particular thing, guys. Basically, in 1929, when the Great Depression of the USA came, at that point of a time a strategy was suggested, and the strategy was this, that when economy is not doing good, when an economy is in recession or a depression, we need to focus on the investment, and through doing a lot of investment we need to go for the revival of economy. In this particular direction, the investment from both the private sector needs to be there as well as the investment from the public sector needs to be there. What will happen? This particular investment will create employment opportunities. As the employment opportunity will be generated, people will be employed. Fine, the people will be employed. They will be paid wages. By the wages, they will create the demand. The aggregate demand will go up. When aggregate demand will go up, it will further give an impetus to the economic activities. Further, other industries will hire more people, and therefore the economy will again come into a motion. So therefore investment is a strategy to revive an economy when the economy is in recession or when the economy is towards a decline. Fine. So this is something going on. Now guys, let's understand that what this article is talking about. So recently the G20 finance ministers and the central bank governors meeting was hosted. It was hosted by Indonesia in Bali. Okay, it was hosted by Indonesia. It was hosted into the Indonesia. Fine. Then moving on in this particular direction. So guys, here it has been provided by the finance minister that India's long-term growth prospects are embedded in public capital expenditure programs. So what government has provided this particular thing? Here government is saying that first of all, government is focusing on public investment into the infrastructure will be done. So by developing this infrastructure, what will happen? Government will create enabling condition for the private sector. Now see this particular thing. For example, private sector, let's say some of a foreign player wants to bring the FDI in India. This is a private investment that wants to come. Obviously the private investment will only come when there is better infrastructure, when you are providing a good environment to the private player. So it has been said that for India, the infrastructure has always been a problem, and now a lot of public investment is being made in infrastructure. It is being made on another front so that we can create a condition for private investments to come in. So therefore what we are doing it, we are right now increasing public investments so that we can pull in the private investments, and all these types of investment can revive the economy. Now guys, we here are going to use one particular word, that is the gross fixed capital formation. Now what is the gross fixed capital formation? Fixed capital formation refers to net increase in the physical assets. So physical assets of a country, for example, we have the highways, we have the highways, we have the bridges, we have the port infrastructure. So basically gross fixed capital formation is that how much government is investing and how much infrastructure or how much assets are being generated. So guys, basically in the developing countries, the ratio of the gross fixed capital in formation needs to be relatively higher. Now it has been provided that government is now investing a lot into the infrastructure, and by that government is making a lot of assets. So it has been said that today the ratio of the gross fixed capital formation to the GDP, it has recovered to 32.5% in 2019-20. It was just 30.7% in 2015 and 16. So it shows that government is spending too much onto the infrastructure and it is generating the assets. Now guys, this particular article that has been written by the author is basically contradicting the finance minister's statement. They say that this has not happened. Investments have not been changed too much as the prime minister had said, and they have presented the data here. Here they say that the public sector's share is just 20% into the investment. Okay, so here they are saying this particular thing, that if you see the period between 2014-15 to 2019-20, the share of agriculture and industry into the fixed capital formation has fallen down. Okay, so there was basically, when we talk about the agriculture, find 77.7% equivalent of GDP was being used into the agriculture for the capital for fixed capital formation. Now this number has declined to 6.4%, and in industry from 33.7% to 32.5%. Now understand this particular thing, guys, that these numbers are not that much important that you should be knowing all these particular things to the core. No, you just need to have one particular idea. Moreover guys, the author is contradicting what the finance minister is saying. Okay, fine. So we just need to read the issue and we need not to go too much into the detail. Secondly, it has also been provided this particular thing, that when we talk about the service sector, the share of service sector has increased to 52.3%. So into the capital formation, the service sector is contributing a lot, their share has increased. But guys, in India, if we see in the service sector, what we have the transport and communications, and within that the transportation, there is the road transportation. So basically government is investing into the road creation only. Through the roads, government has enhanced the capital formation in transport and communication category, and transport and communication categories into the service. We have not done much another things into the service sector. We are not doing too much of investment into the service sector other aspects. Then the next thing that has been provided here is, guys, that basically for healthy domestic output growth, there is need for balance between the directly productive investments and infrastructure investments. Okay, so you need to invest into productive investment, farms, factories are to be developed, infrastructure entails the roadways, ports, they are to be developed. Now here it has been said that basically the share of agriculture and industry shrank, even the economy's gross capital formation trended downwards. Okay, so government is not investing sufficiently. Instead of boosting the investment and domestic technological capabilities. Now this article here, the author is talking about the Make in India. So it has been said that when Make in India campaign came, Make in India should have boosted the investment, should have boosted the technological capabilities. Rather, Make in India was focused only on one thing, that is how to improve the rank of India on the ease of doing business. And we improved the rank of India from 142 in 2014 to 63 in 2019. But we did not done any material thing as how the industrial investments can be raised and all such kind of things. So therefore, this is just a kind of a critical analysis that has been made. You just need to read it, fine, no need to go too much into the detail, because guys, at the end of the day, until and unless a critical analysis is not being until and unless specifically is being asked, we need to see that what the government data is talking about. Fine, now moving on the next article, adding digital layers of indignity. So this article we have taken from again the op-ed section, and this article, it is talking about that how sometimes the technological interventions, sometimes how the digital interventions might not be smart, might not bring actually the social justice onto the ground. So how technology and how digitization impedes the social justice onto the ground, this is the theme that we are going to see with this particular article. And therefore this particular article is going to be important in GS paper number 2. evaluation of the government's welfare mechanisms, as well as in the topic of social justice. Okay. Now, guys, before going in this particular article, I would like to give you some of the background. So, what has happened today? We are focusing too much onto the digitization. We are focusing too much onto the technological solutions into the governance, because we say that if we will bring the technology, if we'll bring the digitization, we can move towards the e-governance, and e-governance is good governance. Okay, so this is a link that the government is trying to make. But this article says that all the time digitizing the governance, bringing the technological solutions might not be very much good. Here it has been said that the author is telling a story that one of a person went to withdraw his pension amount. Okay, he went to withdraw to some of entitlement from the bank, and the bank manager or the bank employees, they wanted his fingerprints. Now in the old age, your fingerprints are not very much clearly visible. Okay, so the biometrics was not taking his fingerprint, and he was not able to withdraw the money that he wanted to withdraw. So the person said that my own body is rejecting me. Is it clear or not? And it was an event of humiliation. And what happens, basically the employees, they also depend too much only onto the technological verification. So if the technology is not verifying you, if the technology is not authenticating you, fine, the humanity is forgotten, and no special consideration is given even by the public officials. Now, guys, this article, it says about this particular thing, that when we talk about the right to live with dignity, it is a constitutional imperative, it is a constitutional responsibility. Now today, when we are bringing too much of technology, what has happened? Dehumanization has happened. We just think that if technology is verifying a beneficiary, then the beneficiary is to be given a benefit, otherwise no. But sometimes the technology might be flawed, technology might not give special consideration, but we forget this thing. So what has happened? There is a dehumanization that has happened. Why? Because the trust, because what has happened, the governance is being getting outsourced to the technologies, and when only the technologies will be the ones which will dictate the governance, then the trust will go out, humanity will go out, and all this will lead to the dehumanization. Now the article is talking about two of the recent examples that have happened. Now the example number one that has been given is the example from the ICDS. Now see, ICDS, it stands for Integrated Child Development Scheme. Now, Integrated Child Development Scheme was launched into the 1975, and today it is the world's largest intervention to secure the nutritional well-being of the mother and the child. Now, under this ICDS program, okay, the children between the 0 to 6 years, pregnant women, lactating mothers, they are eligible for the nutrition. Here it has been provided that the people coming in this category, that is 0 to 6 years children, lactating mother, pregnant women, they can get the hot cooked meals, as well as they can take the take home rations from the local Anganwadis as from the under the ICDS scheme. Okay. Moreover, guys, now what has happened in 2021, the government has come out with the Poshan Tracker. Now, what is this Poshan Tracker? Poshan Tracker is an initiative where government will track the nutritional well-being of the people onto the real-time basis. Now, government had said this particular thing that now basically the Aadhaar of the ICDS right holders, including the children's, they are needed to be uploaded onto the Poshan Tracker. Now see, the Poshan Tracker is actually a database, and on the Poshan Tracker, on the real time, it can be known that okay, who is getting the food, who is not getting the food. Okay, now obviously to track these people, we need to have the details of these people. So here it has been said that upload the Aadhaar details on the Poshan Tracker platform. Fine, so that we can track that who is getting the food. Now here it is being provided that, see, when we talk about the children between the age of 0 to 5 years, now you see, under the ICDS, 0 to 6 year children are being covered. But when we talk about the children 0 to 5 years of age, 3/4 of them, that is 75% of the children, 3/4 or the 75% of children, they don't have any Aadhaar card. So if they don't have any Aadhaar card, how they will be given the food? Now government is saying that okay, if they don't have Aadhaar card, their mother's Aadhaar card can be used. But guys, understand this particular thing, many times even the mothers might not have Aadhaar card, or even if they are having the Aadhaar card, sometimes their Aadhaar card might not simply be authenticated because of some technological error. So what will happen? The children will be denied food. And today, as per the National Family Health Survey 5, 36% of children under the age of 5, they are stunted. Undernutrition is very much high, wasting is very much high. So therefore, the technological solution is going to remove the social justice. Then the second example that has been here, it is under the MG Narega. Now guys, if you are following the newspaper analysis regularly, this particular issue we have discussed also multiple times earlier. Fine. Now under the MG Narega, the government has introduced the National Mobile Monitoring Software. Now what is this national mobile monitoring software? I'll make you understand this particular thing in very simple terms. So basically guys, let's say that the worker is working onto the MG Narega site. So whenever he will go onto the MG Narega site, his attendance will be marked in a muster roll. His attendance will be marked in a muster roll. Now government wants that rather than physically marking the attendance into the muster roll, now the digital attendance should be marked. And for this digital attendance, this particular national mobile monitoring software, it is a mobile app that is to be recorded. Now it has been provided that on this particular app, two time stamped and geotagged photographs of the workers are to be uploaded into a day. Okay, so guys, see, many times the ghost beneficiaries have taken the advantage under the MG Narega. What it means? It means that the people who are not entitled, even they are not working, they are getting the wages. So therefore, the workers' attendance will be marked. You have to give a geotagged as well as a time-stamped photograph. Okay, so it will be written that okay, this photo was taken at this time at this particular place. So these photos are to be uploaded, and that only will mark your attendance. Government says that it will increase the transparency, it will reduce the corruption, it will also lead to the faster payments because there will be no disputes. And all the work sites where 20 or more workers are working, there this national mobile monitoring software is to be used. This app will replace the physical attendance registers. So this is something which is a digital, which is technologically smart, but guys, it will have a problem. What problem? Problem number one, that the workers, they have to stay at the work site even after completing the work just to get photographed, just to get geotagged. And let's say there was some network error and the photographs are not getting uploaded, then what will happen? Their entire day's labor will go away because there is no provision for the manual attendance, only the digital attendance needs to be there. Are you getting it or not? So what will be done in that? Secondly guys, the mates. Now who are the mates? Mates are the supervisors of an MG Narega site. So the mates, they need to have a smartphone. Many of the mates are actually the women. They don't own the smartphone. So how they will bring the smartphone? Essentially they have to take the loan for buying a smartphone. So all these particular things are there. So therefore guys, here it has been said that MG Narega's corruption is to be tackled, but it is not needed that all the time technology can be a good solution. What we need to do, we need to conduct the social audits. Find the citizens should audit these programs and should see that whether all the things are going good or not. If there is some corruption, then the citizens need to take the initiative. Social audits should be there. Further guys, it has been provided this particular thing, that what has happened, basically many times, basically the right holders, their rights will be buried, their rights will be violated. Why? Because of the technocracy that is coming, because of just the technological reliance that we are the technology that we are just bringing without considering that what could be the negative impacts that could be there. So this is all about this particular article, and now let's move to the next article. Now MC12 over its gains for the developed world. Fine. Now guys, this particular article, it is talking about the ministerial conference number 12 that has recently been held. So let's discuss this particular article. This article will see with respect to the GS paper number 3. We'll see this particular article with respect to the GS paper number 3, that is the WTO and India. WTO and India. Fine. Now basically guys, let's first of all discuss some of the background and some of the basic information, and then we'll move in this particular article. So basically guys, World Trade Organization, it was founded in 1995. World Trade Organization was founded in 1995, and the purpose of the World Trade Organization is to enhance the trade between the member countries. All the tariff barriers and the non-tariff barriers are to be minimized. Free trade, okay, fair trade should be enhanced into the world countries. Now guys, when we talk about the World Trade Organization, it also happens to be a forum where the member countries, they come together and they negotiate the trade rules, they settle the economic disputes between them, and they can come forward that how the trade liberalization, trade enhancement can be done. Now guys, when we talk about the World Trade Organization's highest decision making body, it calls as the ministerial conference. So what happens after every 2 years, this ministerial conference is held, and this ministerial conference is the topmost decision making body. Here the major decisions are taken. Now recently what has happened, this 12th ministerial conference, it was held. Fine. Now this 12th ministerial conference, it was held in the Geneva from 12th to 17th June. Actually it was meant to be concluded by 15th June, but there were many issues which did not got resolved. So this something which have happened recently. Now guys, what are the key takeaways from this particular meeting, that is we are going to discuss. Now understand this particular thing, that in the article suggests this thing, that European Union and the developed world has been the winners in this WTO. Okay, the India and the developing countries, for them much of the gains were not there. Now let's discuss what has happened. Number one, the WTO members, they have agreed to temporarily waive the intellectual property patents onto the COVID-19 vaccine. Now understand this particular thing, guys, that see, there are the vaccines that are being developed around the world for the COVID-19 disease. Now the India and the South Africa in 2020 came out with a proposal, and India and South Africa said this particular thing, that there are some of the corporates which have prepared the vaccines, but they cannot manufacture the vaccines at such a speed that entire world should get vaccinated. So therefore what we need to do, we need to provide the vaccine technique, we need to open this particular patent, and every generic manufacturer should be provided as how to make a vaccine so that everybody can be vaccinated. Moreover guys, it has been provided that if the vaccines will be patented, their prices will be also high. How the poor people, how the poor countries will afford them? So what you need to do, you need to open the patent of the vaccines and need to provide the authorization to all the generic manufacturers that they can use that particular patent and can make the vaccines. And not only the India and South Africa wanted on vaccines, but it said that all the medicine related to COVID-19, diagnostic kits, therapeutics, whatever there is for fighting the COVID-19, vaccines, therapeutics, diagnostics, all should be opened up, all should be made patent free. Now what has happened, WTO countries have removed the or have liberalized the patent only on the COVID-19 vaccines. On other things it has not liberalized. Moreover, this liberalization has been given just for the 5 years. Is it clear or not? So what has been adopted, it is a very diluted version of what India and South Africa has actually suggested. Then second thing that has been there is that within the WTO, now the European Union proposed a particular thing and it got accepted, that WTO reforms are to be carried, and secondly environmental issues are also to be brought into the WTO. Now into the WTO reforms, the European Union came out with an idea that the private sector players need to be given a representation into the WTO processes. Up till now, much focus in WTO was onto the government bodies, governments. Okay, now the private players, private sector representatives will also be brought into the WTO and its negotiation. So this is something that has happened. Secondly, what has happened, basically the European Union had said that basically the trade and environment cannot be divorced. Okay, so basically for the purpose of trade, if environment is getting impacted, that also needed to be seen. So on to the WTO's framework, the environmental issue can now be discussed. Environmental issue even onto the WTO will now be discussed. But this particular thing will create certain problems for the developing countries, because guys, when we talk about the developing countries, they are already facing the competition from the developed world. Okay, and in this particular connection, now guys, if the environmental issue will come, obviously if you see the India's emissions in absolute numbers are very much high. So India's high emissions, India's big carbon footprint can be equated with India's trade, etc., and some additional burden, some additional baggage will then be imposed onto the India. Is it clear or not? So the developing countries, they say that right now obviously we are focusing on environment, but environment is not the only priority. We need to bring growth, we need to bring development. Okay, so please don't impose an additional burden on environmental compliance under the WTO. Fine. Then guys, next issue that was there, that India had seen a disappointment into the WTO because no permanent solution on the public stock holding has been come out. Now guys, see this particular thing. Government of India issues the MSP, minimum support price, and on MSP government procures a lot of food grains, and these food grains are managed by the Food Corporation of India. So we are maintaining a big public stock holding. We are fine. Now the WTO says that this public stock holding programs, they are unfair. Okay, they should not be carried. Okay, but guys, on this particular thing, no permanent solution has been adopted till now. Fine, WTO members, they said that this particular issue is a multidimensional, it requires a comprehensive solution, we need more time. So nothing has come on this particular thing. After that, guys, India also wanted to increase the tax onto the electronic transmissions, for example, softwares, okay, movies, songs, okay, many of the electronic transmissions are happening. Okay, so many of the, just a minute. Yes, so many of the electronic transmissions, such as the software, games, etc., are being transmitted from developed country to developing country. So on that, India wanted to increase tax, but nothing has happened on this particular front. Then, guys, the fishery subsidies. So basically, guys, the WTO wants that the subsidies onto the fisheries are needed to be reduced. Okay, and in some time, these fisheries should be waived off. But guys, India again had a problem. According to India, there are large number of the traditional fishermen, poor fishermen who are there, and in order to support them, India has to give some subsidy. We cannot just remove these subsidies. But what has happened, India has been given some time, and they are basically, it has been said that fisheries subsidies are to be minimized. So this is something, guys, that has happened in this particular 12th ministerial conference. It has not been a very big victory for India. Rather, the European Union, the developed countries have got a lot of advantage out of it. So that is all about it. And now we'll move to the next article. A shot in the arm of the rule of law. So basically, guys, recently what has happened, we have discussed first of all this particular issue multiple number of times, the bail reforms that are needed in India. So this particular article we are going to discuss with respect to the GS paper number 2 political issues, GS paper number 2 political issues, as well as GS paper number 2 criminal justice reforms. Okay, basically, guys, when we talk about the political issues, I'm not saying the political issues in terms of the politicization wala front. No, political issues is the relevant constitutional and political issues that are there by that particular, in that particular flair, I mean to say that. So criminal justice reforms also we are going to use it. Now what has happened recently, the Supreme Court into the Satendra Kumar Antil versus CBI provided that in India there is a kind of a general norm that bail are being denied. Fine, Supreme Court expressed its unhappiness and said that the lower judiciary, they are not giving the bail. Fine, so therefore the bail reforms are needed. And even into the Satendra Kumar case, Supreme Court provided that we need to come out with a bail act, we need to come out with a bail law. So therefore basically the article says this particular thing, that see, when the arrests are being made and when the people are being put into the jail, it is not that the police officers want to do this particular thing. Basically the lower judiciary's attitude is something which is to be blamed. So lower judiciary often asks the investigating officers that why they did not make an arrest of a suspect person. Okay, why they did not make an arrest, and if an arrest has not been made, the judiciary thinks that the police, it lacks integrity, just for some vested interest they have not made an arrest. So the magistrates often, they insist that why the arrest has not been made, and therefore it has now cautioned the lower level police constabulary, and they make arrest for every particular case whenever there is there. So basically these caustic comments made by the courts, they evoke fear into the lower levels of the police and they arrest the people. Moreover, guys, into the state of Rajasthan, the state of Rajasthan versus Balchand alias case. In this state of Rajasthan versus Balchand case, the Supreme Court has provided this particular thing, that the basic rule is bail and not the jail. Basic rule is bail and not the jail. But in India, opposite is happening. Basically, everybody is being jailed and the bail is being given in a very rare condition. But no, it is not required. It goes against the Supreme Court judgment. Now, the Supreme Court in this particular case, Satendra Kumar case, had provided that we need to come out with a bail act, a law. A bail law needs to come, and in this particular direction, the United Kingdom already is having a bail act since 1976, where the bail is a default condition, and if a person is to be put in a jail, then some extraordinary proof is to be shown. So in India also we need to such kind of a thing. Now it has been provided that today we are seeing the overcrowding of the prisons, and according to the National Crime Record Bureau, 76% of the inmates into the jail, they are the under trial people. Their crimes have not been proved, but they're still into the jail. Now this overcrowding, it leads to unsanitary condition, unhygienic condition, all these particular kind of things. So therefore it has been provided that today we need to change the mindset of police, we need to change the mindset of the judiciary, and we need to make sure that nobody is just being arrested for the sake of putting them into the jail. We need to have a sense of public ethics, we need to have a sense of ethics, we need to bring the criminal justice system reforms in this particular direction. So this is guys all about this particular article. I hope that you have understood it, and now we'll move to the next article. Okay, so this article guys, a recap of the monkeypox outbreak is being discussed. Now see, first of all guys, when we talk about this monkeypox outbreak, how it is going on, what many cases are coming, etc., is not important, because obviously all this particular thing is going to change every day. Okay, so therefore guys, basically the academic point of view of this particular article we have already discussed on to the 16th of July at 15 minutes 56 seconds. Fine, just few days back I have discussed this entire article, that what is the monkeypox, what are the signs and symptoms, where it got originated, what is the cause, how it gets manifested, what needs to be done in the India, and all these things. So if you have seen, no need to again read this particular article. Fine, nothing is new. And if you have not seen, then please on 16 July at this particular timestamp 1556 you can find this particular issue. Fine, now moving on. Ensure complete coverage of the schemes. So the Prime Minister has told the Chief Ministers that the government needs to focus on the coverage of the schemes. Understand this particular thing guys, that when we talk about the problems on India on social justice front, development front, economic front, see, never in India the problem is there that we don't have schemes. We have schemes, but the problem is that implementation and the coverage of scheme is not sufficient. So Prime Minister has specifically asked that we need to focus on the coverage as well as the implementation of the schemes. So guys, what has happened? Basically, the Prime Minister had said that the states need to focus on saturation level convergence of the welfare schemes to boost the business environment in the country. So if the schemes will be promoted, particularly the infrastructure schemes will be promoted, it will improve the ease of doing business. Now special emphasis has been made on certain schemes such as the Gati Shakti program. Now under the Gati Shakti program, 100 lakh crore rupees are to be invested in infrastructure. Har Ghar Jal, where the piped water connection is to be provided to the households. Okay, then the Swamitva for the land records, DBT, direct benefit transfer. Okay, and all these particular schemes are to be implemented. So general advisory has been given. It has been said that we need to also facilitate and encourage the participation of the youth, okay, in the scheme development, into the scheme implementation, etc. So this is something that the Prime Minister has given an advisory to the Chief Ministers. Okay, however, apart from that, nothing is important in this particular article. So guys, this is all about the today's newspaper analysis, and with this we come to an end to the today's newspaper analysis. Guys, I hope that you have understood this entire issue, and if you have liked the video guys, please do hit the like button. Please do leave a comment if you are appreciating this particular video, as it is a very important thing for us. So now we'll be meeting tomorrow. Till then, please take care of yourselves, and please do download the PDF from the Telegram channel so that you can understand these articles and you don't waste unnecessary time in just making the notes. So that is all about it. And now let's move to the next article. Okay, sorry, not the next article, but guys, there is one particular thing that I would like to discuss with you guys here. So just a minute. Okay, so basically see this particular thing, that what has happened, the yesterday I have shared this particular document with you. Okay, now in this particular document, what has been the case, just a minute. So I have shared this particular document with you on the Telegram yesterday in our Telegram group. So basically this is the weekly list of all the topics that I have done. So for GS paper number 2, for GS paper number 3, both are there. For now in this particular list, you will find these particular timestamp links. Okay, so if you will click on these timestamp links, you will directly be diverted to the page, you will be directly diverted to the YouTube, and directly you can reach to that particular topic and you can discuss, revise that particular thing. So guys, this list I am going to provide you, will try to provide you on to the weekly basis. Okay, so you can refer to that also. So that is all guys about the today's newspaper analysis, and now we'll meet tomorrow. Till then, please take care of yourselves. Thank you so much.